historian at Flint, and she has some wonderful stories to tell us.
Well, all I have to say is there are many, and I don't know where to pick and choose. I've heard a lot already here tonight.
Can't hear you.
I've heard a lot of stories, and I don't know where to start because there are so many. When I was born, we grew up. You can't? Hello? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Maybe you could just be propped a little closer toward her.
A little bit.
Good, good.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
When I was born in Steventown, and I lived in the old schoolhouse. If you know where that is, they're down by McClave's where they used to live, just below Eckhart's Farm, the road in there. There's an old schoolhouse. Harvey Diamond and his daughter lived in a small house across the way. Harvey was blind, and Mary was more or less of a recluse at the time. So when we moved out of the Gould schoolhouse, we moved up on Swan Neck Turn, and as thank you, because I've mentioned that before, and nobody else knows where it is. So that's where we actually grew up. Well, we used to go down, walk during the day, down to see Harvey and Mary, and we would read stories to Harvey, which Mary really appreciated. And that was partly due to Blanche Coffee. But to get back to what Steventown originally looked like, it was very barren. Not many trees. Now you see a lot of trees. You didn't see them back then. It was all wide open space. And this is another in black and white. This is Main Street in Steventown in black and white. You'll see the post office where Brian Baker has his office now. This is where the post office was. This house was sitting right in Sykes' parking lot where it is. That's gone. It was, I don't know what happened to it, but whether they demolished it or maybe moved it, whatever, when they built Sykes' new store. Down here you can see where the railroad bed went across. You can take a look at these pictures later on if you would like. And this is another street view way back in time. And this is where Gould and Cranston had their store. This is where John Whitman ended up having his store, right there. Paul Sykes had his store in there to begin with, and he told me one time how he used to get up on this little balcony type thing, and he would play as a child. And I can't imagine letting my kid do that. This is another street view of Steventown with the post office, and that was Brown's store at one time. And more views, and this is you must remember that, John Whitman's store being in there. This building started out as a garage. Eva Mayer and her husband, when they moved to town, built this. And Eva had the ice cream parlor there. And I remember the last day of school every year, it was a big treat going there to get an ice cream. There weren't that many ice cream places around back then. This is where the Steventown Volunteer Fire Department has their parking lot right now. The Vanderbilt house stood on that site, and that was demolished to make more room for the fire department. Behind there, there was a store. And it was I'm not sure if it was the second store of Very. But if you notice, there's still a house behind there. This one in particular. And this is where Very had his store. And I don't know if that was before Garfield. Do you know?
We bought it from the Very.
It was before Garfield. And then he moved the store down into Garfield. I have a picture of that too. But anyway, behind that first store where Very was, they had a storeroom. And that's where the very first library was. When the new building was built, the library was moved from there to the new library. I went to the elementary school as a child. I grew up there, going to school there, and I can remember walking from the school every day, a certain time. We were allowed like a half an hour to go down to the library. This is this building back in 1899, what it looked like. It was a school building at the time. And I have a picture of the children who went to school here, which includes Paul Sykes, my mother, her sisters, and her brothers. Actually went to school, so I get an eerie feeling when I walk in here, knowing that most of them are gone. Paul Sykes is here too, as a child. This is a picture of Blanche Coffey, a very tiny lady, as Janet can testify, but everyone loved her and everyone behaved. It didn't have to be. Sometimes I don't think kids today respect the teachers or the librarians as much as they should. She was just a tiny thing.
And I never heard her shout at anyone. Ever.
No, she soft-spoken, and we would go down and look for the Bobbsey twins, remember, and the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, and there were times when we would come to Steventown as a family, and my parents would drop us off at the library. We were like 8, 9, 10 years old. They would go on to the then Super Walmart of the day, Sykes store, and do whatever they had to do, and then come back and pick us up. And it was like the same thing happens here today. I'm sure that there's a lot of children that come in here during the day, and their parents feel safe. They're here. So anyway, a little bit about Blanche that I put together was, she was born November 18th, 1900, right, Janet? She is buried in Garfield. She was just one of those that, people really loved. She taught us how to use the card file and find the books that we really wanted to read. Huck Finn was another one that was a great one at that time. I don't know how many kids read those books today. I don't think my grandkids do. More pictures that I have. This picture is a group of school kids who went to school here at the end. They include Marilyn Warren, Herb Roberts, Luella Richard, Lynn Peluso. I don't know her. You know her? Well,
She lived across the road from Stella Sweeney.
Oh, okay. Probably before my time, Norma. How about Mary Nichols, Larry Weatherwax?
Larry Weatherwax lived up where Volpe's.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Terry Demick, Alan Holt, Beverly Liebenow, and James Hager. They're all pictured here. If you want to take a look at this later. This is when Route 22 was being put in. A couple of pictures that I was able to confiscate. And then Barry's new store, which is the picture that Norma has here. But anyway, some of my memories, I can remember waiting for the train. Our car was, we had old clunkers, we weren't rich people, so it might have taken us a half an hour to come from Swan Neck Turn down to Steventown. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't go 60, 80 miles an hour. They didn't even go 40 miles an hour, I don't remember. I can remember having to stop and put water in the radiator. You know, it used to take us almost a whole day to get to Vermont. So, I mean, cars didn't go that fast. People were a lot safer back then, you know, than they are today, even though we have seat belts and all the other safety equipment. But I do remember out in Hassan, on Swan Neck Turn. Oh yeah, and as it turns out, one of my mother's sisters married into the family, and so I do know, I have a lot of information on that as well. But I don't know what else to say. There's just so many memories of Steventown. Going school shopping at the Super Walmart right here in town. I mean, you got everything. Boots, winter coats. You didn't have to leave, you know, and go to Pittsfield or Albany today. Sorry to say we have to. I'm one of the ones that really do miss Sykes store, you know, and even fabric, they had fabric there, you know. I went in and bought a lot of the fabric because I knew it was closing. Can't think of anything else, right? I mean, there's so many memories. Oh, I do know. Steventown Elementary School has a fallout shelter. We used to have air raid drills. Do you remember that? Yeah. And then the school got too small, so the 3rd grade, which I was in, was moved over to the town hall, which used to be the Grange Hall. After Grange Hall, and you know, it's like a vicious cycle. Anyway, the 3rd grade was moved over there, and we had to walk across the road every day, back and forth, to go get lunch, because, you know, there were no facilities over at this school. And you had to have a certain grade level in order to be a monitor. You know, you wore a badge, you know, and I remember Linda Sullivan, she had a turn at it, I've had a turn at it, you know, and then walking back and forth to the library, you know, across the way. And then when, you know, the lawyers took that over, and things have really changed, you know, even in my time. I hope you all enjoyed some of the activities. I know we went on 2 hikes this morning, which one of them was up there at the Black Works Room. Yeah. Very interesting. So, thank you, Norma.